This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
And welcome back to another edition of Issues in Education. Mondays, during the Noon Report, we spotlight the issues impacting our schools with Dr. Ralph Kerr at the Teaching and Learning Institute in Hope, New York. Well, Ralph, welcome back to the program, sir. We have one more show before we break for summer, and since it's about 98 degrees outside today, we want to start with this topic. Forget snow days. How about heat days? There's legislation in Albany that would set maximum temperature limits in the classroom. If it gets to 88, kids and staff aren't allowed to hold class. If it hits 90, they'd be sent home. What are your thoughts on such a proposal?
Well, I said it last week, and I'll say it again. Albany needs to be more concerned about other things rather than this kind of stuff. I looked it up, and it's very infrequent that temperatures in May or June, and by the way, in July and August, schools are closed, hit 88 or 90 degrees. And so Albany needs to get their nose out of this and leave it up to the local districts to decide when it's too warm to have a meaningful learning experience in their district.
Gotcha. Things you could do, probably pull the shades, run a fan, keep it as cool as possible.
Take an extended recess.
Yeah, there you go. Well, hey, it's summer now. The brain drain is underway, and that's not always a bad thing. You need a little time to decompress. But what should students and parents be doing over the next couple of months, Ralph, to mitigate that learning loss that a lot of schools experience come September?
Well, certainly parents can encourage their children to read, and I might say that that's set by an example by the parents themselves. If the parents never pick up a book, then, their children are not going to be inclined that way. But certainly the library in most communities is air-conditioned, by the way.
Yeah.
And you could take a visit to the library. And then also in terms of math, you're going to love this one, Bob. You could go to a baseball game and learn how to keep score in baseball, which involves math. And then when they go to the store and they're shopping, they could also ask about, how much change am I going to get? So there are creative ways if parents are really interested in that.
Yeah, and go see museums, go to state parks, whatever you do, put down that phone and get outside. Very important. Well, there was a recent study, the 2024 KidsCount data book that's put out by the Annie Casey Foundation. Pretty startling stuff. I'm sure it doesn't surprise you, but just to kind of show where we're at as a country. 1 in 3 children meeting 4th grade reading standards. 1 in 4 8th graders proficient in math. I'm sure you'd like to see those numbers improve a bit, Ralph. What's going on here?
Well, both of those scores, which are down, have been declining really over the last decade. Most of it, people say, well, that's a COVID loss. That's certainly part of it, but that's not the only thing. For instance, in reading, I remember well when I was the superintendent in Arkport, one year our 3rd grade scores decreased, and I asked the teachers to take a look at it, and they did, and without getting too technical, they found that they had omitted teaching a topic called close in reading. Doesn't matter what that means. It's just an important concept.
Yeah.
And so they said, we're going to make sure that we emphasize close next year. And when they did that, the scores went right back up again. So certainly it could be that there's some ineffective instruction or some holes in the instruction that's going on. And then we talked the other week about absenteeism. That certainly has an issue as well in these decreasing scores.
Yeah, and you mentioned the absenteeism. That same study showed 30% of students today are chronically absent, which is just unbelievable statistic. And then finally, Ralph, you had mentioned baseball a little earlier, and it's hard to believe a guy as busy as you serve on the board at BOCES, you run the Teaching and Learning Institute, and you're also the general manager of a summer baseball team. Tell us a little bit about the Genesee Rapids, who they are, and why you're so passionate about this organization.
Well, thanks for asking about that, Bob. We are in the New York Collegiate Baseball League. We're one of 2 faith-based teams in the league, and so it's really mission work for me. We have a requirement that regardless of where they may be in terms of their spiritual walk, or maybe not even started, we do have a requirement that they attend church with us on Sunday, and then we have a team chaplain who does a Bible study. We've had some tremendous results in that regard. And so it's part of really a mission work that we're involved in. That we play a 36-game schedule, and it just is a lot of fun. Almost every night, I'm at the ballpark along with hundreds of other people, which makes it a great summer.
It really is. And if you're looking for some summer entertainment, these kids, not just great kids, they're great ball players. It's good baseball.
Yes,
and if you want to see the Genesee Rapids this summer at Houghton University, their game's going on all the way through, I believe, the end of July, right, Ralph?
That's correct. Yes, yes, sir.
If you have questions about issues in education or any of the topics you heard this week, Ralph, where can folks find you online?
They can simply go to yrun.org, yrun.org. Have a great summer, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.